Welcome to the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 155. The first setup was submitted by Jack. Yeah, so I think that PC case is cool, and one thing that I really liked was that the LEDs are set to sort of an orangish tone. Not 100% orange, because it's probably hard to get that in the LEDs, but I like that it matched, and I really wanted to see it sort of, you know, follow suit in the rest of the setup, maybe with like things on the wall and whatnot to follow that theme. That's really one of the only things that ruined his score. I mean, everything else is great. Think about usability, think about all those different factors, and he did a great job with it. Jack scored a 90. The next setup was submitted by Edward. The right side, it's yeah, it's like just empty. You would expect, honestly, like a piece of furniture or something to be there. And I think filling that up more would make the wallpaper not be as over the top. I like what he's going for. It's very compact. There's a lot of stuff on there, but I don't think it's awful. Maybe split it up between two shelves. You know, one that goes a little bit lower and then one that stays at that height. You can't tell me you don't see that warp. Like that, that's a smiley face in the making. So I definitely think that needs to be fixed. Now, I understand in terms of, you know, symmetry and all those things. It's cool, and the idea of it's great. Think about sitting there though. I don't think that's really the best use of what he has. So I don't think he made any mention of like picking up new displays or something, but I would maybe focus on having the laptop not necessarily as the primary, and then just having one nice display front and center. Edward scored an 82. The next setup was submitted by Joshua. PC placement, not ideal. I think the cable management itself, not the best it could be, especially considering, you know, you would think it'd be a lot easier to deal with having it all go in that one section. But I think, you know, you want to see the inside of the computer. Well, that's not the place to put it. I think it's got to go rotated off to the right or off to the left a little bit more, and that'll at least help you hide cables. But yeah, I think it's like a nice, simple, straight to the point kind of setup. Not much to critique other than the cable management, placement of the PC, different things like headphone accessories and, you know, little things like that. But for the most part, it's a nice, straightforward setup, and considering you use it strictly for gaming, I think it definitely gets the job done. Joshua scored an 84. The next setup was submitted by Trey. I do think it's a little bit of like an odd layout against the wall where his computer is. I think everything else is fine, but like the double Alex thing that's white, like having the Alex storage units be white is a little bit offsetting for me. But I like how he's got everything kind of laid out. It's cool that the PC being there does make it feel a little bit more constricted, a little bit tighter, but nonetheless still pretty decent. Theme is lacking just a tad. You know, you have these open walls right up, especially right up above your PC. Utilize that. You know, you have all these awesome figurines going all through. You have all the different things that you like, you know, 3D printing and whatnot. Where's the rest? You know what I'm saying? You want to kind of figure that part out, sort of finish the setup itself. Trey scored an 86. The next setup was submitted by Dustin. My first thought was, oh, the storage bin's white. Wish it was freaking black. The overall like simplicity of the setup, like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a simple setup. There's not a lot to critique. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you want to move the headphones to the left just 3 inches, but not more than that, not less. Dustin scored a 76. The next setup was submitted by Noah. It's all good. Everything's blacked out, like his Yeti, his headphones, all that. Accessories, you know, little things here and there that I would add, maybe headphone holder. Also, I haven't said this in a while, but how about you add some LEDs? I think honestly what plays to your benefit the most is having a bright blue wall, because it's like, what else would you have done? If that was just a white wall, everything else would kind of look like elegant and, you know, blah blah blah. But with this, at least it's kind of like bam, in your face. Guess what? My favorite color is green. Noah scored an 80. The next setup was submitted by Wesley. TV, I get it. I know you were trying to say, you didn't want me to say it, but I'm still gonna say it. You're like, but man, I don't use it for games. That's why it's so high. I don't care if you're watching games or I mean, playing games, watching movies, TV shows, whatever. The TV, especially for being the size of my pinky, is just way too high up. It's simple. You got the wire management that, you know, it's like, really the problem is that your cables are just way too short. I don't know. It's really not. It's just okay. You know, Wesley, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's just okay. Wesley scored a 66. The next setup was submitted by Caleb. In the first photo, it's like, oh, and then you go to the next photo and like, oh, he hides it with the chair a little bit. And it's like, okay, that's nice. But yeah, I mean, looking at the first photo again, the cable management is horrendous. And it's sad because it's really not that many cables. It's like actually insanely easy to deal with. And that's the beauty of having a Signum. You put that to the other side of the desk, you lay that power strip in there, and the only thing you're gonna see is that one cable coming out of the outlet. The next thing you need to do is get yourself a new desk, because I'm pretty sure every desk looked like that, you know, 8, 9, 10 years ago. You know what I mean? That like ladder shelf to the right is really nice. It's really cool. I like it. I think this, for being 15 and only having an Xbox One, this is an awesome place to hang out. Caleb scored an 82. Final setup was submitted by David. I'm gonna pretend for me being able to understand this setup a little bit better, I'm gonna replace all the anime stuff with, let's say, Giants stuff. Now I love it. No, really though. I think first off, it's a very interesting idea of having the photos framed like that and just like a whole consecutive double row of them, which is really cool. Usability in terms of the setup, if I'm blocking everything else out, which I'm doing on my screen right now. Yeah, I mean, you got the ultra wide, you got your peripherals, soundbar, things like that. Boom, simple, done, easy. The cable coming out of that monitor makes me kind of want to punch you in the throat, only because everything else is so clean. David scored a 90. Jack and David tied for first place. Thanks for watching the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 155.